Good afternoon, this is Jack. I'm gonna start on this wiring here today. Hopefully get some of this knocked out. Probably most of all of it that I need. Did finish the exhaust yesterday. It's crazy, but I'm probably gonna heat wrap it. That's pretty close to the oil pan. And I'm probably gonna get an oil filter relocation kit. But I still think it's gonna work. I can't wait for this thing to run. I can't wait to rip the yard in it. I'm gonna come over here, start on this. The first thing I'm probably gonna do is the fuel pump. The Aces does have a fuel pump already. So it sends a positive. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna ground this fuel pump relay and send the positive from the Aces down there. That really would be on its own circuit. So if my shitty wiring, something happens, it should have power going to the fuel pump through the fuse there. Nothing really through the fuel pump relay in the harness. It would just be a relay to activate that relay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. I guess technically that feeds power to, dang, I already cut that sucker off. This would be the signal, but it grounds. Cat, what are you doing? The signal grounds, whereas I got a positive, so I need to ground this. I'm kind of lost, guys, hold on. So we got main power, fuel pump, ground, and what is orange? The orange is fuel pump, red is ignition. Big red needs to go here because that's where constant 12 volts is. And then we can put the ignition wire just on a fuse, because when I turn the button box on, it turns that relay on and supplies power to the fuse box. So that's easy. One thing that I wish I could find that I hadn't been able to find lately are rubber wire end caps. At the track, you have to take electrical tape like I have right here and cover up all terminals with electrical tape. But I've been looking for end caps for wires, the rubber ones that go over like on your starter. And if you go to the parts store, they don't know what you're talking about. They don't have them at the parts store. I don't even know what they're really called. I haven't really looked online for them yet, but I've checked Fastenal, AutoZone, all of those good places, and I haven't found any yet. So I just haven't used electrical tape for now. But if anybody knows a good deal on like bulk wiring caps, rubber wiring caps that, you know, keep shorts from happening, please let me know. Screen cut off. I thought it stopped recording. Main power installed. The next easiest one is going to be ignition. But here goes ignition wire. This is easy so far, man. I could be cranking this thing up by the end of the day. I was kind of dreading this, but now that I'm doing it, this is easy. I don't ever plan on using this setup in any other car. I've always wanted to put a V8 in this thing, but I tried to get all I could out of that V6. It just kept having all kinds of problems, man. I put like 3 sets of lifters in that thing. And then I ground down where the lifter rails mate to the head, try to get better pushing force down onto the oil jackets. And then it turns out that one of the oil jackets was like not lining up, and you had to line it up. So that motor just got on my nerves. And then Daniel was like, I got a transmission with an adapter that for a small block Ford. And I'm like, at first for a few couple months, I was like, nah, I'm gonna keep trying this V6 here. But I mean, there's just so many problems, man. Some of them my fault, you know, I'm not perfect. I am good at messing up. When I mess up, usually it's a pretty good mess up. Like when I first lowered this car, I slammed it. I was like, as low as possible. And then I drove it through the yard and I hit a root. I hit a root and it knocked the oil pan seal loose. And we had just got done like doing a lot of work to this thing to get it ready for the drift event at New Year's. And then I had to pull the motor out just to reseal the oil pan. And then the lifters collapsed at the event. But heat shrink connectors, I've got a heat gun. I don't feel like plugging it in, so I'm just gonna use trusty old lighter here. Good enough for me. All that black stuff should wipe off. It's a little bit of a big connector for this wire. So now we have ignition, or key on ignition for the ECU. Next up is ground. It's hot. Whee! Make sure we're same length as everything else. That's gonna go right there. Yeah, because it grounds for signal, but we want the power to turn it on, so we're gonna have to ground the relay. Positive wire right here. I'm gonna leave a little bit there. I'm probably gonna get a butt splice connector just to put on there to help keep it protected. How do I lose everything? It's in my pocket. Just because maybe I can get away with not zip tying it if I run behind everything. In all actuality, I probably could just run it like this. Well, no, I still need that ground hooked up. You're right. I'm right. You're right. We all right. Well, hey, if I need another relay, I've got power feed to another relay. Ta-da! Now we need to ground that guy. These are the worst wire cutters I've ever had. Hey, look, there's a wire. I could probably reach to a ground right here. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that guy. Oh man, I need another butt splice. But I've made 2 or 3 harnesses from scratch. I did a max ECU. It came with a harness. I ran this V6 on it. The max ECU is currently wired up to the Golf over there. Max ECU really likes the Golf for some odd reason. It just always works in the Golf. But I've had a lot of problems with that max ECU, and I don't want to say it's necessarily anyone's fault. Hey, look, I got fan signal here, and then I got a fan wire down here that needs to be hooked up. That should be pretty easy. I just wish I had a better way of organizing these wires. As you can tell, I'm not the most organized person on the earth. You can fault me for it all you like. I still don't care. I'm gonna live my life how I want to, no matter what. So I believe yellow was fan 2. Let's do fan 1. Where's fan 1? I don't know why I don't grab all the butt splices. I have tried soldering with straight up soldering iron, then I tried these solder joints here, and sometimes they just fall apart, so I don't really want to trust them either. The best thing is always the butt splices. So that's what I'm gonna go with. That's what works. I'll cut that guy right there. All right, so we got ignition. We got fuel pump. We just need ground for the fuel pump. We got fans. We got main power. We need to do some grounds. These gnats out here are the worst. Okay, so it's not even that hot out here, and my camera cut off from overheating, and I touched it before it cut off, and it was pretty dang hot. The battery's dropping pretty low. I got a second battery for this thing. I might try it out. But I'm feeling like mostly everything we need. There isn't a whole lot down here. Nitrous. 2-step, but I'm not worried about 2-step right now. It takes 5 seconds. I don't even know what point is. I don't know if you can see that. It says point. I'm gonna go over inside and probably read some instructions too. You're probably gonna be like, you're supposed to read the instructions before you start, but I've done this enough to recognize a lot of things. So, I think I'm almost done. It did come with this twist tie. Where'd that twist tie go? Twist tie convenience. Well, here's another solution. Twist tie enough for me. Ta-da! And I really guess I should start plopping that can in there. My main issue at this very moment is I'm out of money. I have to wait till I get paid again. So things like transmission fluid. Can't afford I think it takes like 8 quarts of ATF, which is gonna be like $100 or $120 in itself. Need to bleed the clutch. That's not hard. It's still off, and the valve cover's off. Make sure it's getting oil pressure everywhere. I've never heard that motor run. The guy at the junkyard did guarantee it to run. You can see that's where I put all my other grounds. That's probably where I should have put it, but we're gonna try it right here. Let me go grab a ratchet. Hopefully I can zip tie them up. I was aiming for that guy right there to kind of zip tie all these wires too, and I think that would keep it up nice and out of the way. I'm sorry if I'm messing with the camera. We got starter here. Black and white. There's our starter wire right there. That really shouldn't be that hard to hook up. Alright, starter is right outside one of them holes right there. Once again, I'm sorry if I'm not pointing the camera right. I'll get used to it, I promise. I'm gonna keep doing this. I just enjoy doing it. I like getting the views and the likes, but I just enjoy feeling more like I'm productive. I feel like having the camera makes me do things a little bit more right because there is somebody watching. Because I'm not gonna lie, I will cut some corners. All right, see right there. Dang, we cut it right there where I got it soldered together. That should be easy. I don't want to crimp it on, but it's looking like there's a crimp there. At this point, put together. The only thing I need to purchase to make this car run is I haven't got the pulley systems yet. I do have an electric water pump, but I need a pulley system for the alternator. And I'm hoping the alternator fits with my exhaust, but you don't know me, I'm making alternator work. I've been doing it for years on this V6. And I have a question that I want to ask viewers. If you're interested, I have this motor and transmission here. It's good. I want to use it. See, I've been making belts work for a while now. It is off, but I've made a whole contraption out of OEM stuff that I've just turned and twisted and made work. That hurt. Ow. And I just almost fell. The question I want to ask after I peel this skin off of my foot that I just knocked off is, I want to use that motor. I have 2 transmissions for that motor. I have a Z31 transmission and a Z32 transmission for that motor. I kind of want to do a death cart. I finished chopping the panels off of this thing down to the frame. And then this, the only thing it really needs is a diff. I think it's got the axles back there. I've sold a lot of stuff off this car. I wanted to get this car running, but he didn't have a title to it, and I don't mess with cars with no titles. I just ain't got time. But I do want to put that motor over there, and then chop all the body panels off. If that's something you guys are interested in seeing, chime in, let me know, because I'll start on it almost immediately. At least chopping it up and getting it stripped down. Been cleaning up my yard some. It's nice outside. I still got a mess. There's still kittens under the shed there. Well, I call it the shed. But would y'all like to see this motor and an exoskeleton Miata. Death Kart Miata, go-kart Miata, Miata with no body panels. It does gotta have a turbo manifold on there. I have learned a lot on this. Most of my vehicle learning experiences are gonna be right there in that car. I've had a lot of experiences, you know, before and in between, but this is where I really started like just being like, I'm gonna chop stuff up and make it work. So like I created that brake booster delete. That is parts of the brake booster that I cut up, flattened out, and welded. I had my shop foreman at the time weld it for me, but my shop foreman at the time also welded most of this roll cage. I did weld on it some, or the roll bar. One thing I did make is this fuel cell tub. It's kind of old, but if the bumper wasn't there, the sides of it are actually made out of U-Haul fenders, because I was working at the shop and it was flat metal, it was sheet metal, and they were big enough that I just beat them flat and I welded them in. I think it looks cool. I like the bumper. It's really a crappy bumper. The bumper's only been on there about 6 or 7 months, but I love that look, that old school look when I was a kid, and you could see the fuel cell hanging at the bottom with the fuel lines coming out of it. I love that look, but that bumper covers it up, sadly. I might be able to come in here and trim it like right there, and we'll get that look again. But that was one of the first things I did. I've always loved that the fuel cell sticking out the bottom of a car look. I've always been into rat rod type cars. I'm not that of an attractive person. I don't like attractive stuff that much. I like fun, I like fast, I like burnouts. I like it to work right.